What is up, everyone? Welcome into the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Happy Football Friday. I am live in Pittsburgh, technically Coraopolis, Pennsylvania, going to the Steelers game tomorrow against the Bengals. So it'll be a good time. We got a lot of show to talk about. We got some bowl games. Got one going on right now. It looks like Georgia Tech just got their first points of the game. So 14-3 in the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl right now for UCF in the lead there, 14-3. But let's get right to it. Gonna fly through the show, or at least try. So technically week 16, but a couple games we had during the week. Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, UTSA crushing Marshall 35-17. You had Marshall quarterback Cole Pennington. I believe that's Chad Pennington's son. 15 of 33, 45.5%, 258. Quarterback Colin Parachek also threw one ball and it was an interception, so not very good there. Owen McCown, I believe that is Cade McCown's son. I don't think it's Josh McCown's son. I think it's Cade McCown is his son. But 22 of 31 for the UTSA quarterback, 71%, 251, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 8 carries for 38 yards, and a fumble. So the turnovers not costly there, luckily, for the Roadrunners. Marshall, running back Rasheen Ali, excellent player, led the game in rushing, 9 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown. 2-touchdown day for UTSA running back Robert Henry, 14 carries, 37 yards, 2 scores, 2 catches for 12 yards there. Marshall wide receiver Jaden Harrison, over 100, leading the game in receiving, 6 receptions, 132 yards. UTSA wide receiver Joshua Cephas, also over 107 catches for 102 yards and a score. And defensively, I got to go with the bottom guy, UTSA corner Cam Alexander. 1 tackle. It was a solo. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, and a pick. UTSA minus 7.5 covers, over 46.5. On yesterday, we had the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. USF absolutely demolishing Syracuse 45-0. Syracuse didn't have a quarterback. Logan and I didn't know that they weren't going to have a quarterback. But it is what it is. Jimmy gets a free win there on the Bulls. Byram Brown was pretty good. 19 of 26, 73.1%. 214, 3 touchdowns, 14 carries, 65 yards, and a fumble. For Syracuse, quarterback Braden Davis played a little bit, 6 of 12, 50%, 84 yards, and a fumble. And then they had tight end Dan Villari play a lot of the game as well. 4 of 11, 36.4%, 55 yards, 2 picks, 11 carries for 37 yards. USF also played Coastal Carolina transfer quarterback Bryce Archie, 2 of 4, 50% for 11 yards, 3 carries for 13 yards. USF running back Naquan Wright led the game in rushing outside of Brown. Not very much on the ground for either team. 11 carries, 38 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches for 2 yards. USF wide receiver Sean Atkins led the game in receiving, 6 catches, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then he had 2 carries for 15 yards and completed a pass for 21 yards as well. And defensively, got to go with the touchdown guys there. I know I didn't have the stats up here, but I do have them up on my phone. So defensive back Amaris Brown, 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 pass deflection, and a 64-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And then defensive end Tramel Logan, he had 2 tackles, 1 solo, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and a 61-yard fumble return for a touchdown. So excellent game for USF to get a winning record on the year heading into next season. Thursday Night Football, the Rams solidifying their playoff spot. They move up to the number 6 seed with this win. 32-22 was the final there in LA. But, I forgot to say USF plus 5.5 covered under, or wins outright under 55.5. But yeah, the Rams 30-22 win over the Saints. Matthew Stafford was excellent. This offense was clicking 24 of 34, 70.6%, 328, 2 touchdowns. Offense clicking just like UCS is right now. Derek Carr, 27 of 40, 67.5%, 319, 3 touchdowns, a pick. It was a pretty good stat line for what was not a very good performance offensively most of the game. They really got a score late to get it to a 1-score game. But other than that, it was not very good for the Rams or for the Saints most of the night on offense, nor defense, really, for that matter. Rams running back Kyron Williams up over 100 yards in this one, 22 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Alvin Kamara sucked. It sucks really badly because I have him in a standard league that I'm in the second round of the playoffs since I had a bye week. Need my other players to step up a lot now, especially Jonathan Taylor. But, not great. Was not able to run the ball at all. 9 carries for 19 yards and just 5 catches for 16 yards on 6 targets. Rams rookie wide receiver Puka Nacua continued to just dominate. 9 receptions, 164 yards, a touchdown on 11 targets. Big night for Saints wide receiver Chris Olave as well in his return from injury. 9 receptions, 123 yards on 13 targets. Got him the ball early and often. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp, also big target night. 6 catches for 52 yards on 12 targets. Defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy, Rams linebacker Ernest Jones. 7 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, and a QB hit. The Rams minus 4.5 covered over 46.5. USFL news, the Houston Gamblers, they re-signed offensive tackle Avery Genesee. The Michigan Panthers, they re-signed defensive end Breland Speaks, and they also signed offensive lineman Kyle Fuller. XFL news, the Arlington Renegades re-signing defensive lineman Tomasi Laulil. Battlehawks re-signed linebacker Mike Rose, and the San Antonio Brahmas, they signed safety Bubba Bolden out of Miami. And we also have news about the USFL XFL merger. We have major details coming out about that, which is going to be coming up in the beginning of the year. So they said the new league, which is supposed to be the United Football League, the UFL, is supposed to be coming out in January at some point. There will be 2 conferences in the league, split between the XFL and the USFL teams. The XFL teams making the UFL will be the Arlington Renegades, the DC Defenders, the San Antonio Brahmas, and the St. Louis Battlehawks. The USFL teams that will be making the league, the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Gamblers, the Memphis Showboats, and the Michigan Panthers. So that is your 8-team United Football League that will be playing coming up this spring. They're going to do the XFL hub format. So all 8 teams will be in Arlington, where the hub, and then their home games will be played in their home markets, just like last year for the XFL. Training camp is set for February 23rd. And in training camp, each player gets a $400 weekly housing stipend. For training camp and the season. And there will be 10 games, no bye weeks, $2,500 per game for inactive players, $5,350 per game for actives. There's going to be a XFL and a USFL mini dispersal draft. So the 4 teams that were dissolved from the XFL and from the USFL, they will get put into pools, and they will be able to be selected 10 players from each for each of the newly United Football League. The 4 teams that are going into the UFL, those 4 teams will select 10 players from that pool of their own league's teams that got dissolved in the mini dispersal draft. And by the way, 42 teams, 42 players for the XFL teams will be protected. And then there will be the mini dispersal draft is on December 27th, so coming up in 5 days. And then the super dispersal draft on January 15th. That will be where everyone that is left will be able to pick no matter what team that player was with and what league that player was with last season. 23 players each team will select there. So, yeah. And the USFL mini dispersal draft will also, they're going to be able to select 20 players. XFL is just doing 10. But, yeah, it's crazy. College football news, the transfer portal. So, big news today. The NCAA is allowing players who enter the portal this fall, that includes multi-time transfers, to be immediately eligible for 2024. Big news, big rule change for the NCAA and for a lot of players. We saw a lot of movement in the transfer portal last year with the NIL ramping up. Now, with this new rule, everyone's eligible this year. So, I mean, it's making college sports and specifically football professionalized, but that's what they want. So we'll see how it goes. Transfer portal, though, a lot of guys entering this week. Georgia Tech quarterback Zach Gibson, former Akron starter. Tulsa quarterback Braylon Braxton. Ohio running back C.A. Bangura commits to Minnesota. PJ Fleck has done a great job this offseason. Got New Hampshire quarterback Max Brosmer, one of the best FCS quarterbacks in the country. And then C.A. Bangura is a fantastic player from Ohio. Really excited to see him in that Minnesota ground and pound type of offense there. Baylor running back Quaylen Jones entered. Texas A&M wide receiver Evan Stewart entered. Georgia linebacker Xavier Sori, he committed to Arkansas. Georgia linebacker Jamon Dumas-Johnson committed to Kentucky. Mississippi State running back Jaquavius Marks is in the portal. Temple quarterback E.J. Warner, that is Kurt Warner's son. He is committed to Rice, so taking over for JT Daniels there next season. Albany quarterback Reese Poffenbarger, he is in the transfer portal. Excellent performance in the FCS quarterfinal game to get Albany to the FCS semifinal in Brookings, South Dakota against South Dakota State. Obviously got annihilated there, 59-0, but good player nonetheless. Should find a nice FBS home. Maryland running back Antoine Littleton is in the portal, as is Nebraska quarterback Chubba Purdy, FAU quarterback Casey Thompson, Tulane wide receiver Chris Brazel II. He is committed to Tennessee. UCLA offensive lineman Spencer Holstig, he is withdrawn from the portal. And then Cal wide receiver Jeremiah Hunter is in the portal as well. Senior Bowl invites accepted. Tulane wide receiver Jaquan Jackson and Texas wide receiver Jordan Whittington. Super hyped to watch Jordan Whittington there in Mobile. Michigan has received NCAA notice for allegations, recruiting violation allegations. They have been levied a level 1 violation. Coach Jim Harbaugh faces a level 1 violation for not cooperating with or misleading an NCAA investigator about the alleged violations, and also 4 level 2 violations, which are less serious. And these are for recruiting alleged recruiting violations during the COVID-19 recruiting dead period. This is different from the investigation into the Connor Stallion sign stealing scheme. Harbaugh could be charged as a repeat violator under head coach responsibility, which is also a level 1 charge. So we will see how everything shakes up there. But big violations coming to Michigan, which is good. They're cheaters. They deserve it. Just saying. Couple draft declarations from Penn State. Defensive back Daquan Hardy and left tackle Olu Fashanu, considered the number 1 tackle or one of the top tackles, top 5 pick potentially. And bowl opt-out Florida State wide receiver Keon Coleman will not play in what is it, the Orange Bowl? I forget which one. Whatever. Whichever one Georgia is playing FSU in. I can't remember. Orange Bowl, yeah, in Miami. Anyways, NFL news. The Falcons, they're going to start Taylor Heineke this week. Desmond Ridder back to the bench, likely for the rest of the season. Heineke will be in there. The Colts, they placed corner Tony Brown and wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie on the reserve suspended list. They suspended both 3 games for conduct detrimental to the team. Will be back in the playoffs if they make it. Patriots, they placed corner J.C. Jackson on the reserve non-football illness list. Likely ends his season. Tenuous one from the Chargers and the Patriots. Titans, they're going to start Ryan Tannehill this week if rookie Will Levis is unable to go. More on that in a second. Steelers, safety DeMonte KZ, he had his suspension upheld by the independent arbitrator James Thrash for the NFL. Is available to if they make the playoffs, though, for Pittsburgh. Clinching scenarios for Week 16. The Ravens, they can win the AFC North if they win and the Browns lose or tie. Or if they tie the 49ers and the Browns lose against the Texans. The Chiefs, they can win the AFC West with a win or a tie and a Broncos loss at home against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. The Dolphins, they can win the AFC East with a win and a Bills loss or tie to the Chargers on Saturday night. Or they can tie the Cowboys and have the Bills lose to the Chargers. They can also clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie and a Jags loss in Tampa, a tie and a Colts and Texans losses. Texans playing hosting the Browns, the Colts in Atlanta. They could tie, have the Colts lose or tie, and the Browns lose in Houston. They could tie, have the Texans lose or tie, and the Bengals lose or tie tomorrow in Pittsburgh. They could tie, have the Bengals lose or tie, and the Colts lose or tie. The Browns, they can clinch a playoff berth with a bevy of scenarios. A win, a Bengals loss tomorrow, a Broncos loss or tie, a Bills loss, a Dolphins win or tie over the Cowboys, and a Colts loss or tie. They could win, Steelers loss or tie tomorrow against the Bengals, Bills loss, Dolphins win or tie, and a Broncos loss or tie. They could win a Steelers loss or tie, Bills loss, Dolphins win or tie, and a Jags loss in Tampa and a Colts win. They could win a Steelers loss or tie, Broncos loss or tie, Jags loss, and a Colts win. A win, Steelers loss or tie, a Bills loss, a Chiefs win, hosting the Raiders on Monday on Christmas. The Colts win and a Jags loss. A win, a Steelers loss or tie, Broncos loss or tie, Dolphins win or tie, and a Colts loss. Win, Steelers loss or tie, Broncos loss or tie, Dolphins win or tie, and a Jags loss. Win and Steelers Bengals tie, Bills loss, Colts win, Jags loss. That's all the AFC scenarios. NFC-wise, not a lot going on. The 49ers, they can clinch the number 1 seed throughout the NFC playoffs with a win. Eagles loss at home against the Giants on Christmas. Cowboys loss in Miami, and a Lions loss in Minnesota. The Lions, they can clinch the NFC North with a win or a tie in Minnesota, or they can clinch a playoff berth with a Seahawks loss or tie in Tennessee this weekend. IR returned. The Jets, they activated quarterback Aaron Rodgers from IR, although he will not play the rest of this season. Jets eliminated from the playoffs. No point in putting him out there, but he will get valuable practice time with the team throughout the weeks. Eagles, they opened the practice window for corner Avonte Maddox. Would love to get Avonte back. I think he's a key part to that secondary playing in the slot there for Philly's defense. IR Bills, they placed defensive tackle Jordan Phillips on IR with a wrist injury. The Eagles, offensive guard Landon Dickerson, he had thumb surgery, expected to miss some time, but it will be minimal. Not going to be placed on IR as of right now. Ins and outs, the Cameron Hayward, Steelers defensive tackle Cameron Hayward, he cleared concussion protocol. He will play tomorrow against the Bengals. Bills, safety Micah Hyde, he is expected to be out Saturday. Defensive tackle Daquan Jones, corner Kyer Elam, both questionable Saturday night against the Chargers. Bengals, wide receiver Jamar Chase with his AC joint sprain, he is out. Chargers, wide receiver Keenan Allen and linebacker Joey Bosa, they are both out. Jags, quarterback Trevor Lawrence with concussion and ankle injuries. He is questionable officially, still in concussion protocol, has to clear it in order to travel to Tampa tomorrow. Jets, quarterback Zach Wilson dealing with a concussion. He is out. Trevor Siemian to start at home against the Commanders. Brett Rippon will be the backup there. Dolphins, rookie running back Devon Achane with a toe injury and wide receiver Tyreek Hill with an ankle. They are both expected to go. Commanders running back Brian Robinson Jr., he is out. Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. with a concussion. He will play. He is listed as questionable, though, because he has a shoulder injury as well. Running back Jonathan Taylor, coming off his thumb injury, he will play, returning after a couple weeks there. Titans rookie quarterback Will Levis, high ankle sprain. He is officially questionable. Practice today, so we'll see if he can go against Seattle. Corner Sean Murphy Bunting, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, they are both out. Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith with his groin injury, he will return after a couple weeks hiatus there in Tennessee. Safety Jamal Adams, defensive end Frank Clark, they are both out. Texans rookie quarterback CJ Stroud dealing with a concussion. He is out, as is rookie linebacker Will Anderson Jr. Patriots ruled out running back Ramondre Stevenson with an ankle injury, wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster also with an ankle, and safety Jabril Peppers with a hamstring injury. Cardinals wide receiver Marquise Brown is out. Packers linebacker Devondre Campbell and safety Darnell Savage, they are both out. And Broncos will be without linebacker Nick Benito and tight end Greg Dulcich this week. Releases, the Jets, they waived fullback Nick Baldwin, making room for Aaron Rodgers on the active 53. He signed back to their practice squad, though, and will be elevated for game days. The Chargers, making a surprise today, they waived defensive tackle Sebastian Joseph Day, so excellent player on waivers for a playoff contending team, possibly. Signings, the Jags, they signed Michigan Panthers quarterback E.J. Perry to their practice squad in case Trevor Lawrence cannot go. Giants, they signed Rams kicker Mason Crosby, placed kicker Cade York on IR. He was expected to be the kicker this week in Philly. However, aggravated his quad injury, and now Mason Crosby will be the third kicker or the fourth kicker for the Giants this season. Workouts, the Colts, they worked out a group of wide receivers, including Saints wide receiver Jarvis Landry. The Texans, they worked out Jets quarterback Tim Boyle, possible depth there in case with CJ Stroud out. And the Dolphins, they hosted defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh for a visit. Had played in Miami before, but just a visit, nothing imminent there with Suh. Pick standings. Yeah, it's a pretty solid week. Logan still leads by a lot, 17 to be exact, heading into the final few weeks of the college football picks. But Jimmy and I, we're still battling it out for second place. I currently sit 2 games above Jimmy. Got a game on him last week. Jimmy, first one to 100 losses. Good job, sir. Lone Wolves last week. It was a small week because of the first couple bowl games and the FCS semifinals. But I got Georgia Southern wrong against Ohio, but I did get UCLA right over Boise State. Jimmy lost his only lone wolf, so I went 1-1. Jimmy lost his only lone wolf. Miami, Ohio, losing to App State, and Logan also went 1-1 in lone wolves. He lost Old Dominion in overtime against Western Kentucky, 28-0. They blew that. And then Montana, he got right in double overtime in the FCS semifinals there on Saturday over North Dakota State. So tomorrow we have a bevy of bowl games. 76 Birmingham Bowl, the Troy Trojans against Duke Blue Devils. This one is in Birmingham at UAB Stadium. We are all on Troy, as we should be. I just don't trust Duke without Riley Leonard. They also had a bunch of other transfers, Jordan Waters, Jordan Moore as well, or Jaquez Moore at running back. So with all those offensive pieces gone, I think I'm going to go with Troy. Hopefully Gunnar Watson should be playing, I believe, for Troy. And this one should have a good day there for the Trojans. And it's a home game for them, being in Alabama there. Total for this one's 44.5. I'm leaning on the over. I like Troy to score some points in this one. 12 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. The Camellia Bowl, Arkansas State, the Red Wolves against Northern Illinois. This one's at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. So Arkansas State, the pretty much home team here, even though NIU technically will be. But everyone's on Rusty's Huskies. We love Rusty's Huskies. Had them a couple times for Maction this year. Love NIU. And let's go get it done. Rusty's Huskies for the win. Don't really have a preference here for this team. Hopefully Rocky Lombardi's playing for NIU. That would be the biggest catalyst for this choice. Total's 54.5. I'm leaning on the under. 12 p.m. ESPN and ESPN Plus. Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, James Madison against Air Force. I'm shocked no one wanted to pick the military team in the Armed Forces Bowl, but understandable to pick James Madison. Kurt Cignetti gone for the head coaching job at Indiana, I believe it was, I think. But this JMU team still has a lot of talent on it, and I think with the downfall of Air Force the last couple of weeks, the month of the season there has not gone great. And I don't think they're going to have some of their key pieces probably opting out, like safety Trey Taylor. Don't expect him to be in this game. Probably their best player on defense. So yeah, go with the Dukes. JMU gets the dub here in a close spread. Total's 40.5. I'm going to lean on the over. Hopefully JMU can score some points there. 3:30 ABC and ESPN Plus. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. This is always one of my most favorite bowls of the season. And by the way, Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, that one's in Dallas at TCU Stadium, or Fort Worth, whatever. Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex, whatever. Yeah, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl is at Boise State Stadium. So Utah State, pretty much the presumptive home team here geographically. Georgia State against Utah State, both 6-6. I'm going with Utah State. Give me the Aggies. Lone Wolf in the Aggies. I just think that Marcus Carroll being in the transfer portal, going to Missouri, not going to have him for Georgia State. Not sure what they are on for the Panthers without him. So not sure if Darren Granger's playing in this one either. That's why I'm going with Utah State. I believe PV, the quarterback, should be playing, and they had a hell of a time getting bowl eligible against New Mexico in double overtime anyways. So give me the Aggies. Why not? 59.5 is the total for this one. I like the under. I don't know. That's a lot of points for 6 and 6 teams. 59.5. I'm going with the under. 3:30 ESPN and ESPN Plus. Unfortunately, will not be able to watch this one. I'll be at Steelers game. But next one, 68 Ventures Bowl, South Alabama against Eastern Michigan. And this one is a home game. South Alabama, they're playing at their home stadium in Mobile, Alabama. So, yeah, they're heavy favorites against Eastern Michigan, and they're the better team anyways, even at 6 and 6 on each side. South Alabama should roll easily, I think, in this one. EMU, good season, getting bowl eligible, but not going to be a pretty bowl game, I don't think, anyways, from the spread, plus how I know what these teams are at this point. 44.5 is the total here. Give me the over. 7 p.m. ESPN and ESPN Plus. The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Utah. The Utes against Northwestern Wildcats. What an excellent season for Coach Braun there. As the interim and now the full-time head coach, taking over after the Pat Fitzgerald fiasco at the beginning. Getting this team to a 7-5 record is an awesome job there. But I'm going with the more experienced coach, Kyle Whittingham and co. They've drudged through an 8-4 season, and even though they did not go back to the Pac-12 championship, still a solid year. Dealt with a lot of injuries. Cam Rising didn't play all year, so yeah, give me Utah. The Utes get it done here in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play. Total for this one's 41.5. I am leaning on the under. I like Utah's defense. $7:30 ABC and ESPN Plus. The Easy Post Hawaii Bowl, Coastal Carolina against San Jose State. The Spartans getting a 9 as the home team here, and they will be the home team even though it's in Hawaii at Hawaii Stadium, but they are definitely the closer. That's a long trip for Coastal to make from Myrtle Beach to Honolulu. So, yeah, we're all going with San Jose State. Chevin Cordero, hopefully he's playing in this game. I'm not sure what Coastal is going to look like. Jamie Chadwell, the former coach there, Jamie Chadwell, my bad. But anyways, Coastal, though, no Grayson McCall. He's in the portal. So I think, yeah, I like San Jose State. They have the more consistent presence there at quarterback based off transfer portal. This one's 49.5 is the total here. I'm leaning on the under. 10:30 ESPN and ESPN Plus. On Tuesday, we're just going to pick these ones, even though we got a show on Tuesday, but one of them this one will get done before our show, and then the other ones will start after our show. But anyways, Quick Lane Bowl at Ford Field in Detroit, where the Lions play. Jimmy, Bowling Green against Minnesota. He is lone wolf in the Gophers. The only sub 500 team in this year's bowl season. 5-7 for the Gophers. PJ Fleck trying to get this thing turned around. I know they're the favorite, and they're presumptive home team, I feel like it's pretty close. Between Bowling Green and Bowling Green, Ohio versus Minnesota, geographic wise. I don't know. It's close. Logan and I are going Bowling Green, though. I just cannot pick a 5-7 team against a team that already has a winning record. So that's kind of why I'm going. Also, no Ethan Kaliak-Manis. He is in the transfer portal. So not even sure who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Gophers in this one. I'm going to go with Bowling Green. I think Camden Orth is in the portal as well at quarterback, but I'm hoping that BGSU can get it done anyways. Total here is 39.5. And I'm leaning on the under. Not sure how this game is going to play out, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of points. 2 p.m. ESPN and ESPN Plus. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, Texas State against Rice. We are all on Jimmy's Texas State Bobcats, DJ Kinney and co. I think that 7-5 was excellent year for Kinney, and that offense definitely need to get some defense, and they should be a player there in the Sun Belt going forward. But Rice is tough. No JT Daniels, obviously, and so not sure they're going to be young at quarterback in this game. That's why I'm going with Texas State. Trying to think. TJ Finley, that's right. I was blanking on the quarterback's name. But anyways, yeah, TJ Finley, the more experienced starter in this one. I think the Bobcats can get it done against a less formidable Rice team. This one is played at in Dallas at SMU Stadium. 59.5 is the total for this one. I got to go under. I'm not sure about the Rice offense. Luke McCaffrey at wide receiver there, but not sure. 5:30 ESPN and ESPN Plus. And finally, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Kansas against UNLV. Jimmy with the Lone Wolf again. He is going to going on the baseball diamond, Chase Field in Phoenix, where the Diamondbacks play. So home. Yeah, that should be a home game pretty much for UNLV. Kansas a little further away, but I think it's going to be Jason Bean probably for Kansas. But I'm going to trust Lance Leopold against the UNLV team that really shit the bed in the Mountain West Championship game against Boise State. So yeah, I'm going with Kansas, as is Logan. Jimmy, lose your Lone Wolf. Anyways, that is the total for this one is 64.5. Wow. Let's go over. Why not? 64.5. 9 p.m. ESPN and ESPN Plus. Let's go to the NFL pick standings here. Yeah, I won the week last week. Got a game back on the top two. Logan still nipping at Jimmy's heels, just 2 games back there, or 1 game back. I have dropped since my bad couple weeks. But like I said, I got a game on them. Just 7 back here. Couple more weeks to go and then playoffs. So could possibly get a playoffs comeback there, but might not make the jump in the regular season like I want to. We shall see, though. Tomorrow we have 2 games, guys. We have NFL football from Saturday through Monday. It's great. Love it. Love 3 days. We had NFL football Thursday. So great. Love 4 days of NFL football as opposed to 3. But tomorrow, the game that I will be at, Bengals at the Steelers, and you know what is going on. Of course, I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go to the dang game. It's a homer pick. I don't care. We need every single win. Tomlin needs these wins to keep his streak, put his streak to 17 straight seasons, start a career with a winning record or with a non-losing record, because he didn't have a winning record the one year, but a couple years, but he went 500. Anyways, cannot go 500 unless you go 8-8-1. They're going to get the win. Then they're going to win one of their last two, get to 9-8. Might not make the playoffs, probably won't make the playoffs. But this one starts the 2 out of 3 that they need to get to a winning record and keep that for Coach Tomlin, because that's what they have to play for right now. Obviously, every game is a playoff game from here on out for Pittsburgh, but you also have to play for your coach. You have to. You have to play for that. It's a stupid streak, I know, but I think it's an important streak, the consistency that he has put Pittsburgh through. Anyways, sure. Let's go. Here we go, Steelers. 38.5 is the total tomorrow. I'm leading on the over, even with Mason Rudolph starting at quarterback for Pittsburgh. 4:30 on NBC. Saturday night, the Bills are at the Chargers, and no one's going to pick the Chargers. They got demolished on last Thursday night against the Raiders in Vegas. It's not going to matter them going home to SoFi. They still don't have Justin Herbert. They still don't have Keenan Allen. No Joey Bosa. So, they released Sebastian Joseph Day. Like, it's terrible. The sky is falling. No Brandon Staley. Gift Smith will make his interim head coaching debut. So, good luck, sir, against a streaking Bills team right now who are 12.5-point favorites on the road. Anyways, Easton Stick once again. Yeah, not going to pick Easton Stick. I know I picked the Cardinals. I always say double-digit home dogs. But, no, I can't do this one. Despite being down 7 games in the standings late into the season. Total for this one here is 43.5, and I'm leaning on the over. The Chargers get 1 score. They might put the over up. 8 p.m. on Peacock. Sunday, the 1 o'clock slate kicks off with the Packers at the Panthers, and I was hoping Jimmy was going to go with me again. I was really hoping. I was manifesting it. He did not go with me again. Jimmy, I hope you see this, and I hope that I am ready. I am ready to get hurt for the both of us once again by the Carolina Panthers. They're on a 1-game win streak right now, and they're at home. So, why not? The Packers are reeling. The Panthers are hot with the 1-game win streak. I think it's a great game for the Panthers to come out and win this one, and start to drop the Bears back a spot or two in the standings in the draft order. For Green Bay, they need this. Obviously, it's do or die for them as well. But yeah, I'm going with the Panthers. Why not? This total is 37.5. I am rolling with the under. Browns at the Texans. Logan is on the lone wolf wagon. With the Texans, he's a Case Keenum believer. Wow, Case Keenum believer. Logan Jaworski. There you go, sir. Jimmy and I are taking the team that's actually going to win, though, the Browns. Formidable defense. Joe Flacco is playing excellent. And while they did scoot by in Chicago last week, I don't think it's going to be as tough of a task. I don't know why. In Houston, you had Case Keenum, no Nico Collins, more than likely. Obviously, Tank Dell's on IR, no Will Anderson on defense. Texans should have lost last week in Tennessee, but Tennessee is not a great team. The Browns are a solid team. So, yeah, give Logan and I the Browns, or Jimmy and I the Browns. The total for that one's 39.5. And I'm leaning on the under 39.5. Non-playoff teams here. Commanders at the Jets. I am lone wolfing the New York Jets. Sunday. Yeah, I don't know if Jimmy and Logan have watched the Washington Commanders the last couple of weeks, but Sam Howell apparently is going to start again this week. That's rough. I don't know how long of a leash he's going to have because he got pulled last week. Jacoby Brissett looked pretty good, but I'm rolling with the Jets because their defense. I think they're going to pick Sam Howell off maybe a couple times even, and give their offense some short fields so Trevor Siemian doesn't have to work that hard. I also think that Breece Hall should have a nice game on the ground against a Washington defense that isn't as stout as it once was. Obviously, the trades of Chase Young, Montez Sweat have hampered their outside run defense there. Plus, Washington doesn't have Brian Robinson either on offense, so it's going to be Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick there. So 37.5 is the total here. Give me the under. Seahawks at the Titans. Geno's back, and we are all picking Seattle. This one gets a little tougher if Will Levis is able to play. I really liked Seattle when it was going to be Ryan Tannehill for sure. But now that Will Levis is questionable, possibly could play, I think it's a little bit tougher of a pick. I'm still going to go with Seattle, though. They're going to build off that comeback win that Drew Lock propelled them to against Philly at home on Monday. And I think Seattle is trying to make this playoff push. They need some help from Minnesota and LA, but they are looking like a good team at this point. 41.5 is a total here. Give me the over. I think there could be some points. A lot of defenders out for Tennessee. Colts at the Falcons. We are all picking the dogs in this one. I don't know why Atlanta is favored by 2.5 at home. I don't know if there's like a historical thing. The Colts don't play well in Atlanta. Gardner Minshew doesn't play well in Atlanta. I have no clue. But the Colts are a better team than the Falcons. The Colts get, they get Michael Pittman Jr., Jonathan Taylor, both back in this game. And while Atlanta is pretty good against the run, I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Colts offensively. And I don't know what to think about the Falcons offense. They have a boatload of playmakers. We'll see if Taylor Heineke can get them to be good. But with the quarterback change, I'm just not sure. I'm going with the team that is looking good right now and currently in a playoff spot, which is the Indianapolis Colts. 44.5 is the total on this one. And I am leaning on the – I'm going to go over. I don't know. It's a tough one. Under, over. Last 1 o'clock game, Lions at the Vikings. Massive game in the NFC North. Lions win. They win the NFC North for the first time in, I think it's 30 years or something like that. The Vikings, if they can win and they win out, and the Lions lose out because the Vikings play them twice. Sandwiched in there is a Cowboys, a Dallas date for Detroit. So Vikings win this one, they will have a real shot to win the division. They would have to do it in Detroit, which would be a tough task. But Nick Mullins at quarterback had some issues last week against Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I think it's going to be tough. Vikings, unfortunately, I do not think are going to make the playoffs with how the Rams and the Seahawks are playing right now, and then schedules as well should favor those two teams, I think, down the stretch anyways. Lions, though, go win the division. Looking good so far. Looked good last week against Denver. 47.5 is the total here. I'm going with the under. I believe that Brian Flores defense is going to keep this game close. 1-4-05 game this weekend. Jags at the Bucks. Jimmy on the lone wolf train. First of 3 straight here. The Bucks who went into Green Bay last week and shellacked the Packers. I think Logan and I, we're banking on Trevor being healthy, playing in this game, a game that the Jags severely need. They really, really badly need this one with the Colts, Texans nipping at their heels right now, all 8-6 at the top of the AFC South. I think I'll take a 80% Trevor Lawrence, even without Christian Kirk, possibly without Zay Jones as well. I think Calvin Ridley has a big game against a Tampa secondary that's not playing really well, and give Logan and I the Jags. 40.5 is a total on this one. I'm going over. Shootout in Tampa. 425 slate. The Cardinals at the Bears. Like I said, Jimmy's got 3 straight lone wolves here. The middle one is Chicago Bears, who almost beat the Browns last week at home. Could not get it done. Had a Hail Mary. Darnell Mooney sucks. Couldn't catch the ball in the end zone. Logan and I are going with the Cardinals. I picked the Cardinals last week against the Niners. It started off excellently well. They were up 10-7 on San Francisco in Arizona. Could not hold. Gave up a lot of points defensively. But I think this defense is a lot better than what that game was. Obviously, the 49ers, they're not – the Chicago Bears are not the 49ers. And so even though it might be cold in Chicago, I'm going with the Cardinals. They have the better quarterback in Kyler Murray. Even though Marquise Brown is out, I think he's going to find some other guys. Trey McBride had a great game last week, their young tight end there. And I think, like I said, the Cardinals defense, I think Jonathan Gannon is going to get them to play well against Justin Fields in this one. 43.5 is the total for this game, and I am leaning on the under. Defensive game in Chicago this week. The other 425 is a big one. Cowboys at the Dolphins. And like I said, Jimmy. He's not the Cowboys on the road for a second straight week. And I don't know how that's going to play out for him. But good luck, sir. Actually, no, not good luck because I hate the Cowboys. Anyways. The Dolphins had a great week last week, 30-0 shutout of the Jets in Miami. Hot home again. They get Tyreek Hill back. It's going to be a tough matchup against Stephon Gilmore, but who does he match up, Tyreek, or does he play against Jalen Waddle? So whichever one it is, hopefully he plays against Jalen Waddle because I need Tyreek to have a big day, as do I need Tua to have a big day. It's Dallas on the road. They're 3-4 now on the season. It's their last road game. And I just think that, this is their second to last road game. Anyways, it just has not worked on the road for some reason. The Dolphins need to take a page out of the Bills playbook. Watch the film last week. Run the ball. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane should have excellent games. Now, if the Cowboys want to shut that down because the Dolphins ran all over the Jets as well, go ahead. We'll just throw it deep to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle all day. So pick your poison, Dan Quinn. Fins up. 49.5 is the total on this one. Let's go over. Why not? Under, actually. Under, because Vic Fangio is going to play well. The Dolphins defense is better than the Bills defense. Bradley Chubb is having a monster year right now. Andrew Van Ginkel is playing well opposite him in the absence of Jalen Phillips. Zach Sealer, Christian Wilkins inside are excellent. Got Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard on the outside, Kadar Kohu in the slot, Brandon Jones, Javon Holland at safety. And then the linebackers are the weak point, but Duke Riley played well last week. And their other guys have stepped in very admirably. So, yeah, Dolphins. Let's go. Sunday Night Football is a snoozer. The Patriots at the Broncos. Broncos need this one badly to stay in the thick of the AFC wildcard hunt. And, of course, we're all on Denver. Who's going to pick the Patriots at this point? I think I made that statement earlier in the year that I would never pick the Patriots again this season, and I will not. Definitely not doing it in this one. Russ, they got obliterated in Detroit last week. Was not great. They're going to come back with a vengeance, I think, have a good week of practice. And Russ, I think, will cook in this one. Broncos defense gets after Zappy, and they have a good day. 34.5 is the total for the Sunday night game. Give me the over. 8:15 on NFL Network. Christmas Day, triple header on Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Raiders at the Chiefs. And yeah, we're all picking Kansas City, of course. The Raiders eliminated from playoff contention last week. Interim head coach Antonio Pierce trying to keep this thing together. Chiefs have a realistic shot at the number one seed in the AFC, which is just stupid. And if they get it, it's so scripted. So scripted. But yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs. They're the better team. And I just do not think that the Raiders defense will be able to stop Mahomes. 40.5 is the total on this game. And I think I'm going to go with the over. 1 p.m. on CBS. Afternoon game on Christmas, the Giants at the Eagles. All picking the Eagles 13.5 point favorites at home. Hopefully Avonte Maddox can play in this game. Like I said, they're not going to have Landon Dickerson, but I think it's going to be okay. Sua Opeta has stood in there admirably for him before. So that's who I think is going to stand in, because they have Cam Jurgens out on the left side as well, or the right side. So down a couple guards, but they are pretty deep on the offensive line, to say the least. Jalen Hurts, the Eagles need this game. They need it to keep pace with Dallas in division play and finish 5-1 in division by beating the Giants twice. They always play well against the Giants, and the Giant killer, Boston Scott, look out for him. He's going to score a touchdown in this game. 42.5 is the total here. I like the over. You know why? Because I think Nick Sirianni is going to put his foot on the gas and not stop. They are going to blow the heck out of the Giants, and they're going to put up 40 points at home on Christmas Day. Hopefully they're wearing the Kelly greens. I don't know. I can't remember. I think they're wearing the blacks. I think they're wearing the all blacks, which I also love those as well. 4:30 on Fox. And finally, Monday Night Football, the Ravens at the 49ers. I am lone wolfing. I know. I'm sitting here. There's the lone wolfing the Baltimore Ravens. But the Eagles are my number one team. Steelers are number two. And the matter of the fact is, I need this loss for Philadelphia's sake, for their number one seed hopes, because the 49ers, while they play the Ravens this week, they play the Commanders in DC next week. Should be a win. But then they host the Rams, which is a big game. Rams might need that game, and they're playing so well right now. So that would be a big one if the 49ers lose this game and the Eagles win out. They would need a Rams loss or Rams win week 18 to get the number one seed. So the Rams 49ers could possibly be the Sunday night flex there. Don't know which game is going to be that yet. But I'm going with the Ravens. I think their defense is better than San Francisco's. So I think they can match up well with San Fran's playmakers. And we'll see. I've never been a Lamar person, but hopefully he has a good game. And the Ravens, run the ball, get it done in a close win. I think +5 should be a lock anyways. I think two really good teams, possible Super Bowl preview even. +5, I think, is a really good bet for the Ravens. However, it's not one of mine. I don't believe anyways. Total is 47.5. I'm going with the under. The defenses should play well. 8:15 ABC and ESPN Plus. Told you it's not one of mine. Best bets of the week. 0-2-1 last week was not great. I forgot to mention the lone wolves last week in the NFL. I went 2-1. Got the Bengals right against the Vikings in overtime on Saturday. Got the Lions right in a blowout over the Broncos on Saturday, and then I lost the Titans in overtime against the Texans. Jimmy went 2-2. He got the Colts right over the Steelers on Saturday. The Bucks right over the Packers. Lost the Giants against the Saints, and then he lost the Cowboys against the Bills. Last week for bets-wise, 0-2-1 has not been a great couple of weeks. 0-5-1 the last two. Lost the Jets +9.5 at the Dolphins. That was not great. I lost the Eagles -3 at the Seahawks. That was also not great. That was heading toward a push or a cover until James Bradbury sucks. And then the Browns -3 against the Bears. Pushed that one there. So got the lone tie of the season. So 19-25-1. Still got 3 more weeks, including this one, to get over the hump. If I go 9-0, 28-25-1 on the season, that wouldn't be terrible. So let's do it. Let's go 9-0 over the last 3 weeks. So yeah, here we go. The Browns -2.5 at the Texans. I just do not believe in the Case Keenum magic. They have too many injuries. The Browns defense, I think, is going to force Keenum into a turnover, and Joe Flacco continues to play well for the Browns. Lions -3 at the Vikings. I think this could possibly be a push situation. However, I do like the Lions a lot. I do not trust Nick Mullins, and the Lions just demolished the Broncos, even though that was in Detroit. This one's in Minneapolis. Give me the Lions -3 at the Vikings. And then the Dolphins -1 at home against the Cowboys. I'm picking against the Cowboys on the road. And also a 1-point spread in a game is excellent line if you can get it and you believe that team will win anyways. So -1. There you go, Miami. Lock standings. And look what we have here. We are all tied up. Logan lost. Jimmy and I won last week. It is go time the last 3 weeks of the season, y'all. Logan is on a 2-game losing streak. He lost the Falcons to the Panthers. I got the Browns right over the Bears, and Jimmy got the Dolphins right over the Jets in a just ridiculous lock pick, 9.5 points. Half point short of our threshold of unpickable. But anyways, it's go time, fellas. 3 weeks to go. Who's going to get the win? Logan is going with one of my best bets, the Dolphins at home against the Cowboys. That's a tough lock. That is a tough lock. But it's a bold one, and I like it. I like it, Logan. Good choice, sir. I am going. Jimmy and I are fighting because we're going against each other's teams. But he's the one. He picked against his team anyways. So this helps him anyways in the pick standings. I'm going with the Lions against the Vikings. It's a small spread, 3 points. And I think they're going to win the NFC North this weekend, and don't drag it out there. Jimmy, I already talked to him about this. This is BS, Jimmy. Of course, you're just doing this to hurt me, and I know that. But he's going with the Bengals tomorrow as his lock against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Dog standings, yeah, I suck. I'm trash. I should just stop picking the dogs because it's been not great. Again, I haven't had an outright win since week 5. In that time frame, I've had 2 pushes. Week 8, the Browns +4 at the Seahawks, and week 10, the Chargers +3 against the Lions. That is the last non 2-loss week I've had. Week 10. So it's not been great the last 5 weeks. I lost the Steelers +1.5 at the Browns, Bucks +2.5 at the Colts, Eagles +3 against the 49ers, Panthers +5 at the Saints, Steelers +1.5 at the Colts. So Jimmy and Logan, good luck, guys. They're fighting it out for the top spot in the dog standings. They both got their win last week. Texans +4 at the Titans, won outright, and the Bucks +3.5 at the Packers, won outright, snapping Jimmy's 3-game losing streak there. Logan's on 2-game win streak right now. So yeah, Jimmy just 1 game back there. And of course, like I said, I am a million games back. Here we go for the dogs of the week this week. Logan is +3 for the Jags at the Bucks. That is hurting Jimmy because he picked the lone wolf on the Bucks. So we'll see which one wins out there. I am on the Ravens +5 at the 49ers. Like I said, I think it's a good bet. I think they'll cover. However, I don't know if they'll win. I don't know. I need them to win, but I don't know if they will. Who knows? And then Jimmy, we are all on the Colts money line, so he is going with the Colts +2.5 at the Falcons as his dog. As I said, we all like that one, as we all picked Indianapolis this week. That is the show for today. Right around an hour. Next week, we'll talk week 17. And we'll have all your NCAA and NFL game recaps, of course, and your game previews. And the game currently going on, the Boca Raton Bowl, 17-17 at half. Great comeback for my lone wolf on the Yellow Jackets, Georgia Tech there. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at Football Addicts Anon. Merry Christmas, everyone, and we will see y'all back on Tuesday.